Have you ever seen anyone get in a fight over a water bottle? Seems pretty silly to me, but I've seen exactly this happen with videos on social media. This is the Stanley Cup, but people call it the Stanley. It was the it item of 2024. I've seen videos of people fighting over them in stores. This is an item that became incredibly trendy from social media. The company that makes them, Stanley, is seeing huge financial rewards based on the sales of the Stanley. The Stanley Cup is an example of a trendy fashion item combined with limited supply to create immense financial gains for companies. This is a repeat story that fuels another sector, fast fashion. Fast fashion first started with a couple brands. Their business models were selling trendy clothing items by copying high fashion looks from the runway, but making them quickly and rushing into the market while style still remained. This proved to be incredibly lucrative for these companies. With all their success, all the other fast fashion brands that we know and love today popped up and jumped on that same bandwagon. It seemed like a win-win for everyone. Consumers got trendy clothes for less money, and brands improved sales and profits. But now, with decades of hindsight, it might not be quite the win-win it appeared. There are hidden costs that we all pay for with these cheap finds. The catch is they're often made in countries that have less oversight on how waste is managed, what chemicals are used, and how the workers who construct the clothes are paid and treated. This is not a small problem. The United States and Europe alone consume about 36 billion articles of clothing each year. About 85% of it gets discarded with that same year. To put that into context, in the US, if the waste was spread out as an average across the population, it would be equivalent to every person throwing away 100 pounds of fabric each year. That's more than I weigh, thrown out by each of us every year. With those numbers, where does it all go? Only a surprisingly small portion of this waste end up in donation bins. About 2/3 of the waste in those bins end up in landfills here in America. The remaining waste that has not been donated often ends up in developing countries. Ghana is a very common destination for this waste. Ghana receives about 15 million articles of clothing each week. With those numbers, that would mean that every citizen in Ghana would have to buy a new outfit to use each week to use those donations. Instead, most of this waste just ends up in their landfills. All this effort goes into designing and making these clothes, but in nearly all outcomes, it ends up in landfills astonishingly fast. In 2014, the number of garments produced was estimated to be more than 100 billion. This number is expected to rise to over 200 billion by 2030. When brands overproduce like this, it creates a problem at planet scale. Trends only really last 1 year or so, as people lose interest in one and rapidly move on to the next. This fast cycle of human preference is constant, ending in huge amounts of waste that pollutes our ocean with clothes. You might be asking yourself, you've listed the problem, but what's the solution? Well, unfortunately, there's no straightforward solution for this, but there are things we can do to help. One simple option is changing the way you shop a little by asking yourself, do I need this, or will I wear this more than 6 times? This cycle is driven by our demand for constant and disposable newness. If you break that cycle, the monetary incentive for fast fashion falls away. Another great option is thrifting. Thrifting is an excellent example of sustainable shopping by reusing clothes. By doing this, you're reusing clothes that would otherwise be dumped. Now, imagine a world without fast fashion or without the Stanley. Less pollution in general, fewer sweatshops, and less consumerism. And maybe fewer fights at the store over a cup that's selling out. If you ask me, that sounds like a world that I want to live in. So, ask yourself, what can you do to stop fast fashion?